the problem you are facing today is as a result of Dr. Baumia handing over a national asset like ECG to PDS.
If, after almost 1.5 years in office, after reading 2 budgets, presenting 2 State of the Nation addresses, you are still blaming your woes and pathologies in any sector on the previous government, you are a massive failure.
If I were him, in my stead, I'll resign. Because it means that this is your first day of shame. But no, nothing has been done. You see, NDC and Mahama are synonymous to doom so.
You see, this is a very interesting story. This is a very interesting conversation. Akoso, this the way no koso TV3. Na man no was blue no what one me ma on the video kakra me say. Ya kasa will be a school NDC for. This is the man. And I agree with him. Nem kwa mama wo di no. Ma betina so me pacho getting to 2 years. That's a still Moda so blame aban no what if no. You are a failed government. In fact, me support no. Me for the work and so. Ada na ma betina so almost 2 years. Still no mo blame aban no what na fi no. Ono na still no mo blame no. Me say mo de sa 4 years no na atimoni so. Na moni so adem ho. Na moni so atem wan. Na de mo ye yina no aye kwa. Enti wonim ade we. Wonim ade we de be. Sisi energy sector no adum so no aba no. Afi wonim 24-hour economy no. Yanka ho asem ebetonsuom. Because now wo de dey na ekwe 24-hour economy. Light no mu ye dundu. Dey na wo de ekwe 24-hour economy. Nti wo say ndisi for eja 24-hour economy no. Na wo mo ekudum so ekun light no. Onwo aban no ye to abama no se wo mra no. 24-hour economy na ebetonsuom. Na eba ne say no. Me se fasha wo trim se wo ye Ghana ni eba ne say ya o. Wo kasa hwa wo kasa ye pa because se NDC for ya ban nkrofobia se omo hu se Ghana fo atu omo no gwo so so pa omo a obi won se achi nipa baako na de abekata so nipa no be won se wonya hwe wo betie nkomo no mu no na enye excuse bia gidigidi a wo se achi nipa but ni achi nipa no na de akanta nkomo no ekoso no na de akanta so. That is what they do. Enti we no a ye ka dum so no wo de enche wo betia nse achi obi wo betia ense ya chi obi enche me say wo de give time some time enche kura so mama wo be won say achi obi give time some time. That is how they are. Sa no mo ye bechi obi but ebusuan highest South African media jibre na tie conversation we course no bra ye ba beto so.
You know, I don't know what we are in right now because nobody is prepared to tell us, nobody is prepared to communicate to this country what is actually happening. Are we in doom so? Can somebody man up? Can somebody be bold enough to raise his or her hand and say, yes, we are in doom so? Are we in doom so? Because if you don't know the problem you are, how to solve it becomes an issue. Are we in doom so? Let somebody officially tell us that, yes, we are. And then you can begin what? To enumerate what you think you are doing or not doing. That's the first things. Deniability or restraint, trying not to run it doesn't help anybody. Because understand this, that look, if you are a hairdresser, if you are a barber, if you are this, and you know whether you are in doom so or not. So that's the first thing I would want. We need some honesty. Sometimes some of these problems, that's what happens. Tell us what exactly we are in. That is the first thing I want. I want some amount of truth here, some honesty here. Let us know what we are dealing with. 2, we have seen a lot of theorists trying to use to forget that this happens. And one of the theories is that, one of the arguments is that the former government did not do any investment or reinvestment in the energy sector.
Absolutely.
That was what was said. Okay. Even if we agree with that, how come in 2025 we didn't face this problem we are facing? So for 8 years, what we are saying is that for 8 years, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo's government did not do any major investment in the country, in the energy sector. But for 8 years, the lights were on. And when he was leaving office, he left the lights on. Was it magic that put the lights on? Was it witchcraft that kept the lights on?
Now, I am saying that there were periods of outages.
What I'm saying, of course, there's a difference. There's a difference.
What's the difference?
Period of outages. What do you mean by period of outages?
I mean, I remember the period that the energy minister said they were doing doomsday.
Exactly. When was that? That was actually even almost in the 6th year of the Akufo-Addo administration. That was almost in the 6 years of it. So it was in the beginning. That's the point I'm making. Almost in the 6 years of it, and it was fixed. And we didn't see by 2024, by 2024, we didn't see this happening. But my point is that up to 2025, it was fixed. Those things were fixed. This is the point I'm saying. If you say he did not put any investment in any sector, but for 8 years he kept the lights on, then it was magic. Was it magic? Was it witchcraft that kept the lights on? What kept the lights on for the 8 years? Something happened. Now, whatever formula that was used to keep the lights on is a good formula. We'll continue with that. Then you came to 2025, lights were still on. And one of the biggest things we had in 2025 was that some transmitters, transmitters, were imported into the country. And they got lost. They got missing. One, they said they were stolen. Two, they said they were missing. And then all these investigations, finally, they were recovered. Are those not investments? If you bring in transmitters, that many transmitters, is that not an investment? Are those, so you cannot on the one hand say there was no investment, and then on the other hand says that, well, we brought in new transmitters to do it. Are those transmitters not investments? They are investments, and they were brought to help what? Solve the situation. So again, it goes to that narrative that there was no investment. No, because you cannot say there was no investment, and then there was, we brought in lessons to help. Then three, the issues I want to look at is then saying that, okay, let's go to Ashanti region, let's fire some people, let's move some people around. Was it a human resource situation? Was a human resource situation that led to the power crisis in Ashanti? But so far we have been told that it is not a human resource situation. We have been told that it's not firing engineers left and right. It's not, that is a human resource, but the problems in the sector is not a human resource situation. And then finally we come to what? What is happening? The fire at the power plant. Fire anywhere is very destructive. So I'm not surprised that the fire there destroys some properties and is going to be. But ultimately, we need some honesty and some sincerity. Tell us what exactly is happening. There are issues of costs. Remember when the government came to power? One of the first things they did was to rush through a bill in power for the Dumso levy. What were we told when that levy was passed? The Dumso levy was presented as a panacea to the woes and pathologies in the energy sector. We were told that if we pass this and if we took this money, we will cure all the ills and woes in that sector. Was it a lie? What happened? You are still collecting the money. So are you saying us that the message you sold us, how you sold us that the Dumso levy was supposed to be, did you fail? Or was it just another source of revenue for government? That's what I'm saying, that we need some sincerity from government. Was it just another revenue for government? That's okay. Because you cancel e-levy, you cancel burden tax, it created a big hole in the government financial structure. You wanted something to pay. I'm not against it, but let us know, let us break down. Because on the one hand, you cannot tell us that Dumso levy was supposed to solve these problems. Then on the other hand, you are telling us that the Dumso levy, yes, even though it's there, you are still collecting so much money from it, the problem is not solved. So what exactly is the problem then? Is it a financial problem? Let us know. Is it this? Because you cannot be running around. It's about something that's, you see, and sometimes the biggest problem that this NDC has or the government has is that they campaigned in excellent poetry. Beautiful poetry. Offering lazy and simplistic solutions to rather very complex problems. And now that you are in power, you then realize that those simplistic solutions could not work. I heard the national chairman of the NDC make a very simplistic argument. I'm not an engineer, I can't make that. What's the name? Engineers are working the daytime. Why should we have lights off? Are you working the night? Why should we have lights off? You heard that, right? You heard the national. So the same question he asked, we could just ask the managing minister today that same question. If they are fixing a transmitter in the daytime, why am I having lights off? That was the question that the national chairman of the NDC asked. I've seen the national communications director of the NDC said something very important. He said, if we have haram, Dumso in 2024, it was haram. You heard that, right? You heard him say that, right? That if we had done so in 2024, 2020, it was haram. Why are we still doing haram now? Or is it still haram? The doom so we're having now, is it still haram? Or this is, what's the opposite of haram?
Halal.
So, or is this halal doom so? No, and I go what they said we had haram doom so. Now, question is, do we now have halal doom so? And what's the difference? What I'm saying is that you begin to see, and you've seen this in almost all of government, campaign beautifully in poetry.
I mean, but you agree that since Thursday, the power situation has been very bad since Thursday. You agree with that?
It has always been very bad. It's not listening to Thursday. The power situation has been very bad.
If you are going to do analysis and you compare the intensity, the extent,
it got worse. Yes, I'm not. Listen, I'm not denying the fire incident. I've not denied it.
Yeah, I mean, but you in one breath you suggest that government is not telling us what has happened. In another breath you say that in the past they said light shouldn't go off if you are doing something in the day, it's not in the evening.
I'm not the one that said it. I'm not the one that said it. I'm not. No. Yeah, I'm quoting policy makers.
Yes, they said that, but you admitted from the initial submission that 2025 we didn't have these issues. You admitted to that.
Yes. No. So
if we're having the issues now, is the logical?
I'm responding to different
else that has happened.
I'm compartmentalizing the issues.
Okay.
The 2025 issue that came out was coming from an angle that you said there was no investment in the sector. Do you understand that? Okay. So that was to specifically address that question. So if you said there was no investment in the sector, so how is it that for 9 years the sector was working, humming, and you said there was no investment? So what was it running on? Do you understand? That was to deal with that. Then specifically we also give another reason that it was transformers. And my question is, yes. Maybe you have to expand transformers, population expand, things do, and then it does. But then, remember, in the past, you poo-hoo that idea. The national chairman of the industry poo-hoo that idea that no, if you are fixing a transformer in Kanda, then in the daytime, then in the nighttime, Kanda should have lights. That was basically what he's saying. He says, there's no, listen, that because of the transformer, then people should sleep in darkness in Kanda. That was the point he made. So I agree with that. Then I agree with that. Why are we now using that to justify that there's lies of them?
So as far as you are concerned, what exactly is happening?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know whether it's a financial. What I'm saying is that it could be a financial problem. Okay. It could be a lack of crude problem. It could be a technological problem. Whatever it is, I think the ordinary Ghanaian or those of us that they will just want to switch on their lights and come on, and we want the government to move from of this cacophony of excuses and just get the lights fixed. Okay. I think that is what everybody wants.
Okay. The energy sector is a big problem that we are facing. And to tell you the truth, this is one of the reasons why I was late today. 12 midnight, the power goes off. It started, I think, 3 or 4 days ago in my area, around after East Legon, Obojo. Every evening it goes off. When I got to the studio, I was reading the board there, the Great Coal shut off. And I realized that all the areas they had announced were more Ashanti areas. It wasn't in Greater Accra after the burning. So why are we so affected in Greater Accra? One would say, oh, it's not doomso. But if I sleep the whole night and I leave my house this morning and I have not still got electricity, I believe it's doomso. Because previously, in between 2019 or 2020 and 2024, when the lights were going off, it wasn't for this long extent. It wasn't in this bad taste. Hey. Those who knew. And they can check. You can shout about it, you can insult about it. But that is it.
It's not true. Please go ahead, Mr. Thompson.
When this government took over power in when did they take over power? 2025 or
2025 January.
One of the first things that happened at the Energy Ministry was the alleged missing containers, true or false. Up to now, the minister has not been punished for lying to Ghanaians that they were missing containers. Because when they were pointed out to him that, listen, there can never be any container missing in the port, they came back and said that, oh, they have found it at another yard. But when you are doing your work the first time, the people you set up a committee or condom tea, and they were drinking their tea and added biscuits to it, and were enjoying. and writing memos and reports. They couldn't go around and check from all the yards in Tema. For you to come and give the whole Ghanaian this and that, over 10 or 15 containers are missing at the port. And these were full of cables and transformers and everything that you can name and shame. And he's walking free. If I were him, in my stead, I'll resign. Because it means that this is your first day of shame. But no, nothing has been done. You see, NDC and Mahama are synonymous to doom so. And if you remember, somewhere in 2024, when there were a few challenges here and there, Nanado said, woe betides him that he would make Doomso come into this country. It's synonymous with Mahama. So when Mahama comes back, he can bring Doomso. But under his reign, you make sure Ghanaians will not suffer that. And truly, he made sure that Ghanaians will not suffer that. When he was saying that cables were brought in and were being changed, that was the time Napo was telling people that, listen, we needed to change most of our cables. Because before we took over government, and even it's happening right now, when you hear any thunderstorm or the rains were about to start, lights go off. Am I lying? When we came into power and we started changing those cables, even when it was raining, you still had lights. Right. Even when it was raining, you still had lights. So this matter of trying to, paint NPP into this picture, you were voted into power. And you got the likes of some CSOs being on the national platform and other people in some other political parties joining you to sing praises that this government is the best government in Aba. Aban Papa Aba. Is this the Aban Papa Ghanaians called for? Sometimes they forget. That is not as if they added some mysterious figures to become the leader in this political race for the 2024 elections. It's about 2.1 million NPP sympathizers and members who were angry with the party because of one or two obvious reasons and said that they were not going out to vote. But when you check the results from 2016, 2020 and 2024, they're about the same figure that NDC are holding. So they didn't have any miraculous thing. It's not as if Ghanaians wanted them, but they were angry with their party. And the way NPP is, when they're angry with you, they will decide not to go out and vote. So it's not that they have anything mysterious that Ghanaians saw, so this and that, this is the best alternative. They are not the alternative. And they've proven to us that they are not the alternative. And this can be said in the electricity challenges that are going on. And not only that, in almost all the sectors. Go to education. Go to other places. We are seeing it. We are feeling it.
Okay. They did absolutely nothing.
No problem at all.
Significant in terms of generation. That is a matter of fact. As far as transmission and distribution is concerned, what they gave us is PDS. You are now talking about Baumia, thinking about taking us on a solar drive where everybody would have a battery and all of that. And it is this same, you see, part of the problem we are facing today is as a result of Dr. Baumia handing over a national asset like ECG to PDS, as a result of which we lost 1.1 billion Ghana cedis, as a result of which we lost 90 million Ghana cedis that the Millennium Compact account was given to us to upgrade our transmission line. So if you bring Dr. Baumia in the equation, I think you are trivializing this whole argument. If there is anybody we need to hold responsible for the lack of investment under NPP, I think Baumia is one. And this and you see, you would laugh. You would laugh. It is because it was Dr. Baumia who turned a bank guarantee, which was supposed to be a condition precedent, to an insurance guarantee, which later turned out even to be fake. Which turned out later to be fraudulent, as confirmed by Al-Kut. You don't know about that? He produced it. You don't know about that? It was a committee chaired by Dr. So the point is that the NPP did not make any significant investment in the energy sector is a fact. Okay. The NDC came in to make to meet a very terrible situation in terms of a 1.5 million debt IPCs which have been settled. The NPP came in to meet a system that has not been upgraded for a long time. And we introduced the transformer upgrade program, which is presently ongoing. So we urge Ghanaians to bear with us. The problem we are facing will not last. It is something that is under control. The Ministry of Energy has its hands around it. And you see, when Alfred was talking, he said under President Kufuor, there was no doom, so there was intermittent power supply. But one of the few moments that we've had proper doomsday evidenced by a timetable from ECG was under President Kufuor. During his 8 years, we had doomsday for 3 years. So if you come here and say under President Kufuor there was no doomsday, you see people will not take you serious. Anybody that lived that moment will not take you that serious. Right. So the point is that we came to meet a terrible situation. We are not lamenting as the NPP will do. We are fixing it, and we will fix it.
Okay, Doc.
Thank you. If after almost 1.5 years in office, after reading 2 budgets, presenting 2 State of the Nation addresses, you are still blaming your woes and pathologies in any sector on the previous government, you are a massive failure.
Thank you.
1. 2. Despite all the panting and the ranting from Solo, there is absolutely no TV audience within the energy sector. If they were, by now we would have seen it. There's nothing there. And I like the fact that any opportunity, you like to buy the hand that fed you for 8 years, Solomon, or for 6 years. Keep on doing that. One day it will come. Okay? You want to sit here and tell me that Alan was an angel in the NPP. Meanwhile, all the Alan was a senior cabinet member, sat in the economic decisions, but at any opportunity you want to what? Cover him so that he looks like he's an angel, whilst you want to blame somebody else. Solomon, it's not going to happen. And look, finally, I want to also make some point because we need to keep this things like that. On the one hand, you are saying that they didn't make any major investment. But I tell you what is major. Define major. I tell my students, define your concepts. When you say major investment, first it was that they didn't make any investment. Then we are being told that they were changing wires. Now, I am not, but I know that if you are changing wires to good wires, it's an investment, right? 2, they were also told that, they imported transformers. Transformers too is an investment. Now, if our issue, I heard my brother admit that we have a transmission problem. How do you address transmission problem? By the wires and by the transformers. So if that was identified, or if that is identified as the core problem, and you are saying that the previous government did invest in these areas, how then do you now jump from that to go and say they didn't make any major investments? But look, Akabele, there's something that will happen in this country, and there's something that we need to do. We need to have a timeline on when you can blame the former government for your woes and pathologies. Because when you come in and you tell me that the whole of 2025, that the sector was stable, you took credit for that.
Okay.
When fuel prices are going down, you take credit for that. When what's the name? Dollar is going down, you take credit for that. So on the one hand, you are telling us that in 1 year you've been able to achieve all these things. And we should clap for you. We should praise you. We should sing your hosannas and hallelujahs for what you have done in your name. You have transformed the economy in 1 year. I want you to understand that narrative. You understand that.
Yeah.
In 1 year you said, I have done all these things. But in the same time, well, the 1 year is not enough to also do these things. So praise us for all these things we've done for 1 year. But when it comes to this one, blame the NPP. Hypocrites. It's not fair to do that.
Okay.
Because if we give politicians the time, you will go to December 2028, they will still tell you to blame NPP for all their woes and pathologies.
Yeah.
It's not fair. We are not going to allow that to happen here.
Okay. No. Solo. Mr. Thompson, I'll give you the final word briefly.
I'm so glad. And I'll quickly state the megawatts Nanado added onto the grid. But before I do that, let me state and let it be on record. Under no circumstances has Bawumia distanced himself
but that's what
from
you did.
the administration of Nanado.
Why were you asking Akabele that question? Now you interjected me.
This is not from the backman. I am
Look at that.
under no circumstances has Dr. Bawumia distanced himself from Nanado. Listen, they work together. They work together.
Allow people to talk. The first and second thing.
You want me to go? They work together. They work together, and I'm very proud to be a member of Nanado's government. where we made sure that there were certain things we
Why
put in
you were
place.
sacked?
Now, when you look at his generation mix, he added, and this one you can just Google it and you get it. President Akufo-Addo's administration has added hundreds of megawatts to Ghana's national grid through various projects.
Hundreds of megawatts is very broad. I mean, hundreds of megawatts.
Okay, I'm giving you the breakdown.
So go ahead. Go ahead.
My brother.
No, go ahead. Yes,
are
go
you
ahead.
trying to be like this is solo?
I'm asking a question. I'm asking you to clarify. So
Okay.
it's yours to answer.
So now
Go ahead.
you have the bridge power plant at Pong, the 200 megawatts that was commissioned under Nanado. When you go to Kalio Solar Power Project, you have the phase 1 and the phase 2. Kalio, yes. The phase 1, he had a 13 megawatts in 2022 and in another 15 megawatts in 2024.
So less than
making a
200
total,
megawatts.
oh
Okay,
please.
we are listening.
Making a total of 28 megawatts.
Okay.
Then you go to the bridge power plant at Pong. You commission a 200 megawatts
You've
plant.
mentioned it.
mentioned that
You've
That's what
mentioned
I've
that already.
mentioned.
You've mentioned that already.
So you go to Laura Solar Plant. You had the A6, the 6 megawatt solar plant project in the Upper West. Then you remember that he did the Bui, that's the floating water, this thing.
Okay, yeah.
Why are you?
No, Mr. Thompson, go ahead. Go ahead. Mr. Thompson, go ahead.
He did the Bui water, that's the solar floating solar water.
How many megawatts?
Which he's added on to the.
How
this
many?
thing. Now, when you look at that, you said he hasn't added anything.
400 megawatts in 8 years. Mahama did 2,500 megawatts in 4
So,
years.
and
This is what we are talking about. You see, this is what we are talking
But the
about.
figures,
Are you disputing the
figures? Are you disputing the figures?
figures you've put out?
Yeah.
It doesn't even come up to 300 megawatts.
Yeah,
Exactly.
in 8 years.
You said he hasn't. You said he hasn't added.
So that's what
So I am proving to you.
Yes,
I am proving to you that even the little
That's fine.
that I can just
In
Google,
8
you
years,
can
less
get
than
this.
300.
So,
In 8 years, less than
Let me
300.
finish by coming to you know this guy when he's talking.
yes.
Sometimes I ask myself, is he in Ghana or because he's under the pay of certain people? So sometimes he does certain things that you know before what do you call it? Before ECG went digitalization, you know how much they were getting in revenue. The highest at that time was 450 million Ghana cedis. Now in 2023, when they went digital under Dr. Baumia when he was saying it, and they were insulting him. And today they can sit here and say that he's a thief. Under his thievery, the revenue grew from please. Right, go Google.
I want to check because
Google.
you are going to lie. So I know.
The revenue grew. The revenue grew from 450,000 and 450 million to 1.2 billion.
It's not true. What period?
That is it there.
What period?
That is it. 2023.
No, they showed me. This is
2023
AI
monthly
generated-
revenue
Sure,
increased to around 1.2 billion. Today, as we sit here,
It's a lie.
2025. That
It's
is
a lie.
talking 2025.
Yeah,
Let
you
me
never
come.
achieved that.
Peak performance 2025. As you said, it's 1.7 billion. And you're asking me that, am I shocked? I'm not shocked.
You are shocked.
Because someone used common sense and brains, and even under challenging circumstances,
My goodness.
decided that, listen, let us go this way. Because one thing I love about Dr. Baumia, and I always say it, that one day when I sat down with him and I said, listen, some of these this and that you are always complaining about.
It's contesting for national
there's a
treasure, so you
TV
want to
here,
associate
there's
with
TV
Baumia.
there, there's
You
this
don't
thing
know.
here, there's that thing here. He said, listen, it's not the change of the people that matters. Because I can change Solo, who is trouble, and go and bring another person. The person might even be worse than Solo.
Okay. All right.
But we need to make sure that we digitalize the system.
What digitalization
And make sure that
did you
when
do?
you do that,
What
you are
digitalization?
able to block some of the loopholes that are here.
What did you do
They
specifically?
insulted him that he didn't know what he was
What
doing.
specifically did you do?
All right.
Specifically.
Yes, so,
Digitalization is a
What did
project.
Alan do? What did Alan do?
I'm not shocked by this. I'm not surprised. If you were a nurse sitting down there are thousands and thousands of them. You were promised automatic post, so you didn't get it. Why won't you go out? If you were a teacher sitting down there and you were hoping for, you were promised automatic post, and why won't you go out? If you are sitting down there, you are an engineer, or you are a medical, household medical lab technician or nurse, and you were promised 3-hour shifts. The 24-hour economy was supposed to solve these problems. 24-hour economy, Yamutu, it has dead. Shit. 24-hour economy is not. So what is happening now? You know what you're not going to build a market in Tumu. There's already a market in my hometown, Tumu. You're going to build a second one, which is good. How would that solve the 24-hour economy problem? If you were a trader in Tumu market, they trade from morning to evening, meaning when they close, they go and sleep. Now you are going to put the market there. You think because in the new market there, the market woman will now say that let's sit the whole night and trade. My point is that the 24, you are seeing the failures of the 24. You are seeing that the youth, they are giving up on this government. And my worry is that they are giving up on the government too early within the system. They're giving a hope. Secondly, as I said, I don't see what is surprising. The government, I've seen the Minister of Labor actually arguing that they are looking for jobs for people in the Caribbean, right? They have gone there, they are trying to get Ghanaians to go, nurses to go there, and they're looking for jobs outside. It's the same thing. My point is that, look, what is happening is that the youth of this country, they have seen the writings on the wall. The writing is bleak for their future. 24-hour economy collapsed. There's nothing that is coming for them. And what do? They have to look for somewhere. Wherever you are going, I pray that the good Lord will take you there. You are going to hunt for butter and bread. I pray the good Lord takes you and bring you back safely. You are going to make sure that you are able to feed your family back home. I pray that you are safe. Whatever they are doing, you have a skill that you want, go and get it. Because you've lost hope in your country. Unfortunately, I cannot help you with that.
You see, me to what ye doom light. Also be a minimum yesum. What true for no sin a dance new abuchiri. One many penny jumo. You tinu what one. What we school and the mama who say school crowd soon in for so. Me ye jumo ye doom light. Me ye juma ye doom light. But yes to me. Oh, one many penny juma. Nipa na kwa cheska pudo. One many juma ye. A beer kwa salai over 500,000. Majo musike di kwa. More from 5,000. Nipa na say okay, me a me family hu adwuma. Timia me ye medwuma, ye doom light. Enim guasia sem say, ye doom light you. But yes still I'll do it. And to when you come must me yanka, and to when mo person mo friends e ye den. And no pay and bra ye doom no, and then ye doom no, enti mo person mo chese ye den. Doom so no ekwaso no me say, wo pa he, mo pa mo nkwaso en betene emeye pe, mo belusi. Because someone ni ma me kai mu aya mo nko mo akais mo nko akais na mo nko hwede pa mo 2016 ye doom light me ye adwuma wo ye doom light me am ye medwuma ye doom light and this an obi nso ten officer wo ye adwuma ye doom light and this obi ye obi adwuma te say de me ye na se obi adwuma na me ya nipa kro no e wo se wo jai and omo ye printing press omo ho aka omo tonam e hye freedom omo ho aka me pa to ye adwuma we ye ho aka the hotel office ne ho aka ekwaka mo se meyenka mo se de mo se yenka ya no ntum say mo ho ofenti say mo de mo nim nyansa ten obi anti no mo se meyenka ade na ndisi nko abaso na dum so ekwaka mo se nye dum so enye dum so na ye de mo de sha akoso mu nya mo hwio mo ye incompetent adwuma no na mo ntimi nye adwuma no na mo ntimi nye but mo de ni brebre ene kom ene betena kun ene mo baaye mo de kom ne ba power but kom no nso moa mo kontompo no amusu na fidie no na mo yi kasa bra ne ntende wo hye nisi communicator bia na kasa bebre but ba akokore ne hoto asom mo kasa bebre kwa ba akokore ne hoto asom ya say me ye dwuma ye dum light ai ye dum light enti we no de abema won sa ko no na wo se wo jai mo ya bro this government o ya aban a me hu ne saso aban da wo ya bro youth no a wo mo ba no a NPP a employ sankrofon mo ba pam wo mo enti e bi tifie no kasa e titiafo bi tifie nurse fo bi tifie and is a nurse ne hu so okay ma minya adwuma me amempa kakra nya adwuma ma me ho na se na adwuma ne light no wodi ya na mo san dum light na sa ada ne sika nko benya di no na mo san agina no aduane aban bi ni na mo se aban papa ba yes aban papa ba na light yo modum no we say betimi take be 7 hours from so betimi take be 7 hours no mo so light no ye kwa ka mo se ma yenka na bra net wo say yemblem na nadu dan kokufu ado aban. Are you sick in the head? Time one and another dan kokufu ado ene na mo commission power plant no mo nsua de wo commission your man and no na sustaining for 7 years or 8 years no so mo nimo mo de bia mo ba yem fanshe biribi de bia mo ba propaganda yem pa biribi mfanshe na mo ho atom na mo amme mo yesa na mo amme abusua ese woni ensese ya ka kire bi na atom no eko comment section en concluding ko subscribe like na fi share ma foforo wonum e wa chichi ene bente ye midin e de oduma nkomo ba na ko fi fuma sante kudi